Imagine walking into your kitchen every morning and finding that someone has stolen exactly one slice of bread from your loaf. You didn't see them, the door was locked, but the bread is gone. This is exactly what is happening to your bank account right now. Most people believe that if they put $1,000 into a savings account, it stays $1,000. They feel safe seeing that number on their mobile app, but I am here to tell you that the number is a lie. While the digits stay the same, the power behind those digits is dying. In the next 10 minutes, I am going to show you how a hidden thief called inflation is stealing $100 of value from your savings every single year. We are talking about a 10% loss in purchasing power that the banks do not want to explain to you. They want you to keep your money sitting still so they can use it, while you get poorer by the second. If you have ever wondered why you work harder every year but seem to buy less, this is the answer. We are diving deep into the math of the invisible robbery. I will show you why $1,000 today will only buy $900 worth of goods by next Christmas. This is not just a theory, it is a mathematical certainty in our current economy. If you value your hard-earned cash, you cannot afford to ignore this. We are going to unmask the thief, understand the weapon they use, and most importantly, I will show you how to build a shield to protect your wealth. Stop being the victim of a system designed to melt your savings. Let us look at the cold, hard numbers that the 1% uses to stay ahead while the 99% wonders, why does the bank want your money so badly? They offer you a high-yield savings account that pays you maybe 1% or 2% if you are lucky. Meanwhile, they take your $1,000 and lend it to someone else for a mortgage at 7% or a credit card at 24%. But that is not even the worst part. The real trap is that while they pay you $10 in interest for the year, the cost of living eggs, gas, rent, and electricity has gone up by $110. You earned $10, but you lost $100 in value. This is the math of a losing game. The banks are not your friends, they are warehouses for your melting ice cubes. When you leave $1,000 in a standard account, you are essentially giving the bank a free loan while you take all the risk of inflation. Think about it, if you bought $1,000 worth of groceries last year, those same groceries now cost $1,100. Your bank balance still says $1,000, but your fridge is 10% emptier. This is the interest trap. They give you a tiny crumb so you do not notice they took the whole cake. We need to stop thinking about amount and start thinking about purchasing power. If your money is not growing faster than the speed of price increases, you are technically going bankrupt in slow motion. It is time to stop playing by their rules. I am going to show you exactly how the big players move their money out of these traps and into assets that actually fight back against the printing presses. You are being taxed without a bill being sent to your house. It is a hidden tax on your time and your life. To understand why your $1,000 is losing value, we have to look at the source, the printing press. Since 2020, the amount of money in circulation has exploded. When the government prints trillions of new dollars, the dollars you already have in your pocket become less rare. It is basic supply and demand. If there are twice as many apples in the world tomorrow, each apple is worth less. The same applies to your $1,000. Every time a new stimulus or a new government budget is passed using printed money, a tiny piece of your savings is sacrificed to pay for it. This is why a car that cost $25,000 a few years ago now costs $35,000. The car did not become $10,000 better, the dollar became $10,000 weaker. You are standing on a sinking ship, and the bank is telling you to just keep standing still. We have to realize that cash is a tool for transactions, not a tool for storing long-term wealth. If you store your life's work in a currency that can be printed at the click of a button, you are at the mercy of people who do not know your name. Your $1,000 is like a battery that is leaking energy. By the time you want to use it in 5 years, it might only have 50% of the power left. We are going to look at the history of hard money versus fiat money and why this cycle always ends the same way for the middle class. Knowledge is your only exit strategy. You cannot stop the printing press, but you can move your $1,000 into a hard asset that cannot be printed into oblivion. Let us look at the wealth transfer happening right under your nose. The invisible thief of inflation has a partner in crime, and that partner is you. It is called lifestyle creep. As your $1,000 loses value, your brain tries to compensate by spending faster. Have you noticed that as soon as you get a 5% raise at work, your expenses suddenly grow by 10%? You upgrade your phone, you add another streaming service, or you start buying more expensive coffee. This is exactly what the system wants. While inflation melts your savings from the top, lifestyle creep eats your potential from the bottom. Think about your $1,000 again. If you spend it on a new television today, that television will be worth $200 in 3 years. You did not just lose $100 to inflation, you lost $800 to depreciation. This is the double-edged sword that keeps 90% of people trapped in the middle class. They are trading their most valuable asset, time, for things that rust, rot, or go out of style. Every time you buy something you do not need to impress people you do not like, you are handing the thief a key to your house. To break this cycle, you must treat your $1,000 like a soldier. A soldier's job is to go out and capture more money, not to be sacrificed for a slightly faster internet connection or a brand name shirt. When you leave your $1,000 in the bank and then spend your extra income on stuff, you are effectively making yourself a slave to the paycheck. We need to flip the script. We need to stop feeding the thief and start starving him. In the next section, I am going to show you the time decay of your money and why waiting even one more month to act is costing you a fortune. Let us look 10 years into the future. If you keep $1,000 in a standard savings account today, and inflation stays at a modest 7% to 10%, what is that money actually worth in 2036? Numerically, your bank statement will still say $1,000 plus a tiny bit of interest. But in reality, that $1,000 will only buy what $400 buys today. You have effectively lost 60% of your life's energy. This is the time decay of fiat currency. If you worked 100 hours to earn that $1,000, the system has stolen 60 of those hours from your past. You can never get that time back. This is why the rich do not keep large amounts of cash. They know that cash is a melting ice cube. They use a concept called opportunity cost. Every day your $1,000 sits in the bank, it is missing the chance to be invested in something that grows. If you had invested that same $1,000 into the S&P 500 or a high-quality asset 10 years ago, it would not be for $100 in value, it would likely be $2,000 or more. The difference between $400 and $2,000 is the ignorance tax that the average person pays every single year. You are being punished for being safe. The bank tells you that the stock market is risky, but they do not tell you that the safest place, their vault, is the only place where a 100% loss of purchasing power is guaranteed over time. We have to stop being afraid of the wrong things. The risk is not the market, the risk is doing nothing while your clock ticks down. So, how do we stop the bleeding? You need a shield. A shield is an asset that has a finite supply. Remember the printing press we talked about? The reason the dollar dies is because they can make an infinite amount of it. To protect your $1,000, you must move it into things that cannot be printed. First, we have commodities like gold and silver. They have been money for 5,000 years. When the dollar goes down, gold typically goes up because it takes the same amount of gold to buy a suit of clothes today as it did in ancient Rome. It preserves your time. Second, we have productive assets like stocks of great companies or real estate. These are companies that can raise their prices when inflation hits. If the price of bread goes up, the company making the bread makes more money and their stock price follows. Then, there is the digital gold Bitcoin. Love it or hate it, it has a hard cap of 21 million units. No government can click a button and make more of it. This is why it has been the best performing asset of the last decade. Your $1,000 needs to be diversified across these shields. You do not need to be a millionaire to start. You can buy fractional shares of a total market fund or a tiny bit of gold. The goal is to get your money out of the kill zone of the bank and into the growth zone of the real economy. By moving just $500 of your $1,000 into these shields, you cut your inflation loss in half instantly. You are finally fighting back. I am not telling you to take every cent out of the bank. You still need an emergency fund, but most people keep too much in the dead zone. I use the $500 rule. If you have $1,000, keep $500 for emergencies, your rent, your food, your peace of mind. But the other $500 must be put to work immediately. This is your wealth engine. If you are just starting, do not try to pick the next big stock. That is gambling, not investing. Instead, look at index funds like the VOO or VTI. These funds own a little bit of every major company in America. When the economy grows, you grow. When inflation hits, these companies raise prices and you grow. It is the simplest way to ensure that your $1,000 stays ahead of the $100 annual loss. Another part of the $500 rule is investing in yourself. Sometimes, the best way to beat a 10% inflation rate is to increase your earning power by 20%. Use $100 to buy books, take a course, or learn a skill that the market values. Your brain is the only asset that inflation can never touch. If you become twice as valuable to your employer or your clients, you can demand twice the pay. This is the ultimate hedge. While everyone else is complaining about the price of eggs, you will be making enough money that the price of eggs does not matter. The $500 rule is about balance, 50% for today as safety and 50% for tomorrow as freedom. Here is your blueprint for the next 30 days. Step 1. Audit your bank account. Look at how much cash is sitting there doing nothing. If it is more than 3 months of expenses, you are losing money every second. Step 2. Open a brokerage account. It takes 10 minutes. Step 3. Set up an automatic contribution. Even if it is just $50 a month, the habit is more important than the amount. This creates a system that beats the system. Inflation is a tax on the uneducated. By watching this video to the end, you have already moved out of that category. You now know that $1,000 is not a static number, it is a fluctuating value. You know that the bank is using your money to get rich while you get poor. And most importantly, you know that you have the power to change it. The invisible thief only wins if you stay asleep, wake up, take control of your purchasing power, and start building your shield. If you found this helpful, hit the like button so the YouTube algorithm can show this to more people who are being robbed by the banks. Subscribe to Ben on Money because we are going to dive even deeper into specific assets in the next video. Do not let your hard work evaporate into thin air. Your future self will thank you for the $1,000 you protected today. I am Ben, and I will see you in the next one. Let us grow that wealth together.